You asked for it!
Last October, my cousin, Nina, she's back there, she moved a boyfriend of hers into her 3-bedroom, second-floor apartment, which at the time had herself, her kids, Andrew and Jasmine, both her parents, both our grandparents, her brother, her brother's baby, and her brother's baby mama, all living in it too. This guy's name was London. He was 18, and he'd just gone over the wall from Cook County. I don't pretend to know what happened to him when he was in there, but it must have been real bad if he was almost done, on work release even. And he wanted out so bad he got a pass to see a doctor one afternoon and just took off. So last October, when Nina moved him in, I asked, he got out already? Because I knew he'd gone back in over the summer. And she said no. So that means, yeah. And it became yet another of the many secrets we shared because we're family. And like Nina told me once, family means ride or die. Not that I have any idea what that means really, but okay, sure. We're family, and you're supposed to be able to trust your family with shit like this, right? I guess things aren't always as simple as ride or die, because 3 days before Thanksgiving I called the cops. For a lot of different reasons, and the fact that him living in that apartment put 10 members of my family at risk for a lot of shit, because claiming ignorance doesn't mean there won't be repercussions when you get caught. And you will get caught. Everyone always gets caught. I just didn't think that we'd all get caught up the way we did. Nina's 4-year-old, Jasmine, was in the bathroom pooping. And while she sat there squeezing her little hands in the little fists, London slid into the room, asked her to be quiet, and climbed into the linen closet. I imagine Jasmine thought he was playing hide and seek. A few minutes later, still pooping, she heard footsteps, lots of them. She heard London's heavy breathing. Then the bathroom door opened again, and she screamed, "Hey, I'm in here!" What she didn't know was that was a cop who peeked on her taking a shit, and that cop was looking for London, and that there were cops coming up the front steps and the back steps, cops all over the apartment searching for him. And as that door shut, the door to the linen closet creaked to life, and her mama's boyfriend tumbled out from a pile of dirty laundry and scrambled over to cover her mouth. She wondered why his chest was heaving, why he sounded angry but looked scared. "Move. Daddy has to go." She just stared up at him. "I mean it. Swing your legs. Move over." I imagined she could smell the sweat on his skin and see it bead on his nose as he bent down and swung her legs over for her. He swiveled on his bare feet and leaned over to lift open the bathroom window, revealing the storm window and screen. Jasmine still thought it was a game. She still thought it was hide and seek. She thought everyone was going to have a good laugh. She grabbed a wad of toilet paper and said, "I'm gonna tell Mommy," and inhaled deeply, readying a scream. And then London panicked. And it was almost as if it all happened in slow motion. Jasmine watched London's eyes bulge and his hands struggle faster against the storm window's latches and still fail to open it. Then she watched him step backward as far as he could until he was right in front of the door. She watched him bounce on the balls of his feet and rotate his baby fat shoulders over and over, faster and faster. She saw him weave his head from side to side. She saw him bend at the knees. She saw him prepare. "Daddy's gonna be okay, but I gotta go." And she pressed her lips together, the beginning of Mommy coming slow and clear, and then he leapt. With his bare arms curled in front of his face, he dove head first at the exposed storm window, exploding through it, sending shards of glass into the air around him inside and outside the house. He tore through the metal screen, raking his skin and catching his wife beater on its ragged edges. He tore the entire window frame from the wall as he blasted through it into the frigid air, leaving the old wood to hang limp and cockeyed. Jasmine screamed for her mother the whole time, little bits of glass landing in her lap and in her hair, frozen in place with her hands still full of toilet paper, watching her new daddy careen into the wall of the building across the way, then fall like a flightless bird from the second-story height to meet the cement gangway between houses. After London was loaded into an ambulance, and after my uncle came home and began arguing with detectives, taking pictures of the crime scene, and almost got himself arrested because he wanted to use his toilet, and after Nina collapsed and fell down the stairs and was taken to the emergency room too, my aunt called me. And I went over to the house and went upstairs and sat in the front room among my grandmother and Andrew and Jasmine. And when my aunt told me what happened, then asked through clenched teeth and tight lips, "Did you call the cops?" I lied. I shook my head because I knew I couldn't explain it. I couldn't say, but he was so fucking mean to them. And you know he was using Andrew to score phone numbers from little girls at the grade school. And you've seen how he acts with Jasmine. There's something that ain't right about him, and you know it. And plus, hello, he's supposed to be in jail. I couldn't say that, so I lied. Well, fuck me, she said, looking at my head shaking. Nina was right, it was David. He had been threatening to do it. It was David, my grandmother repeated as she drifted to sleep on the couch. David. He must have called the police because Nina wasn't letting Jasmine see him. I was more than willing to let everyone believe that Jasmine's real father tricked on London, that this was his fault. His head fell off, Jasmine said with a matter-of-fact tone and climbed into my lap. Nuh-uh, Andrew countered. Only his eye fell out. Nina called me the following Sunday. They got that nigga real good. Who? Sticks. Who? What you mean, who? My baby daddy. Boys out south stomped him for tricking on London. The day after he left, someone called here for him, and I tell him, man, Joe, Sticks tricked. Sticks is what they call Davy because he's scrawny. And they all know him because they run with some of the same people. You know it was David? Who else is it gonna be? Anyway, they go find him and they start talking about how London's back at county and how his face is all swole and how he tried killing himself by going out the window. And one of them says, whoever that nigga was who tricked, I'm sure get it. And Sticks was like, for real. And they all looked at him and they was like, nigga, we know it was you that tricked. You did it because old girl wasn't letting you see your baby. They surrounded him and beat him unconscious. He got 2 black eyes, whole face swole, most of his ribs broke, teeth broke off, and his jaw, girl. I pictured her sucking her teeth and grinning. His jaw is worse than London's, and London fell out a fucking window. Sticks got 4 screws in there now, permanent. He ain't never getting on an airplane. There was quiet for a few minutes before she added, all those years of him putting his hands on me and beating me so bad I didn't want to be alive anymore. And now this shit? Tricking because he jealous? Shit, nigga got what he deserved. Except he didn't. He got what I deserved, maybe? If my understanding of ride or die is accurate, which it probably isn't, because no good deed goes unpunished, right? Even if the punishment gets handed to someone else. Or something like that, something all convoluted and mystical is gonna come around and bite me in the ass, was the understanding I eventually came to. Until a few months later, after things had settled down some, and I told Nina the truth. She nodded and was quiet for several minutes. It's all right, she said, bobbing her head. Don't worry about it. It'll be our little secret.
And our little secret, Nina's in the house tonight, and this is the first time she heard this story. She knew the situation, which is the first time she heard the story. And you know what? That's a very courageous thing for Nicolette to do, to get up and tell this story in front of Nina. Let me get a big round of applause for Nicolette.